Hey YouTube, good day. Going out to go get my midday burpees in. I wanted to do a VR that I talked about yesterday to the Patriot nurses video that she did about the Operation American Spring, and just some of the comments she made and my own comments, and noticing that it already started. Caught a little bit of comments and stuff on the Ustream just a second ago. But and skeet range is behind me. Hopefully this comes out all right. It's not too loud. But yeah, it didn't. Judging by the Ustream, it's not particularly a large event yet, and the haters and the trolls are out trolling pretty hard in the comment section. So it goes to show you right there how much division there is in this country. There's people that don't want to change. There's people who want to take it back. There's people that want to push forward further into tyranny is what I'd call it. They would call it, I don't know, land of rainbow and flowers, I guess. Government control. But Patriot Nurse's comments talk about in which she went through the 4-step, and it was a really good response. It was well thought out, I thought. And I agree, but I also disagree with what she said. But just basically said the way it's going about and everything with poor planning can only be a disaster because it's not well thought out. And she said essentially if they do get their way and they replace people, it's essentially a coup. Well, and that's true. It is. It's no different than any other banana republic coup. Going in there, taking people out, putting people in. And so, that's essentially what a coup is. And she's right about that. And that would only go to show how far gone the country is, I guess. But along with that, she says we have to work within the system, prepare for the November elections. We don't want to discredit any efforts we've made up till now. And my thoughts are, we're not going to change DC in an election. The days of working in the system are far over as far as at the federal level. Very few state levels and some local levels still have hope, I think. And I'm hopeful at my local level, I know that. State level's shaky. And national, I mean, what's there to fight for? Every representative you send up there, they don't change anything. And we'll get more into that here in a second, over the comments. But, she's talking about, they're stating the grievances of the Tea Party, basically. But it is a coup, which, we don't want. I think it's going to further distance the conservative movement from the, middle of the road populace out there. And, yeah, that's probably true. Especially if it goes further into stages. And that's also done by the propaganda wing in the mainstream media, the propaganda wing of the government, which is the mainstream media. They're going to demonize it and minimalize it. And the lack of numbers, which I think we all knew it wasn't going to be 10 million people. The lack of numbers don't help that propaganda machine, because they're going to continue to say, see, look, there's no support for this. So they'll continue to use it as a wedge to divide constitutional thought from the rest of the populace that are entrapped in everything. And she says it attacks the wrong people. That look where the money is, corporations, etc. Yes and no. You have to let politicians know that they're not going to get away with this crap. We're on to them. I think that sent a message to them. They're working for the wrong people. But when you say follow the money, money goes to one place, and that's a central bank. The central bank controls all. They lend the money out to the corporations to use and steal wealth from people. So I think it goes back to the central banks, IMF, the Bank of London, etc. Corporations have a deep hand in it because they're a part of that process, but they are allowed to participate in the process and manipulate the economies to steal the wealth from the people. So I say to follow the money, you gotta go back to the central bank. until you change the central bank, really none of this matters. As long as you're on a central bank system, they are going to be able to steal your wealth through inflation and manipulation of interest rates and everything else that they do to benefit themselves and pocket free cash, because they don't work for it. All they do is put numbers in a computer. They have digits in their computer based on interest. They go out and buy land, property, real wealth without working for it, essentially. So that's the real problem. The consequences of an armed effort she brought up. Oh, I think after the Bundy Ranch standoff, many people are fully aware of the consequences of an armed altercation. If that didn't wake a lot of people up that are involved or at least paying attention, I think the people that are going there fully understand that. And since a lot of them are veterans, just like at Bundy Ranch, like James Yeager said, I've been in a gunfight before. I don't want to get another gunfight. But you'll be there to stand up and protect people. Now, going to Washington, D.C. and marching on Washington, D.C., and I hope this comes out, it's windy. Going to Washington, D.C. Really isn't protecting anybody. You know, you're on the assault, basically. But, you know, I think she brought up talking about fighting the military. And I don't think that any of this, however it plays out, is going to pit the American people against our own military. It's going to be American against American, but the military will be divided and kept overseas. And that's been done on purpose. And these federal agencies have been armed for that exact purpose. But she references the Civil War and remember the War of Northern Aggression, as we like to call it, and the invasion of the North to the South, and the consequences that are generational. And what consequences are generational when you look at the loss of liberty and the stealing of everybody's birthrights over the last 100+ years. It's not gotten any better. I think allow our children to grow up in a place where it just continues to evolve into a corporate oligarchy, essentially. It's only going to get worse, more centralized, more control, police state. That's what's coming. If you fight it now or you fight it later, you want your children to fight it, that's what you're going to leave them. So saying that future generations will have effects on them if we have a civil war now fails to realize the full implications of what we're falling into. This isn't a matter of wars that fight over land and fight over property and stuff. This is really, like what many have talked about, this is the last stand of freedom and liberty in this country. And if you don't fight for it now, our children aren't going to be able to. 20 years is not in the time frame that we can wait. So that was most of her concerns. But I agree with her that Operation American Spring can have disastrous consequences, and it will be used to divide. I don't think the mainstream media will paint it any other way, because they are the propaganda arm of the government. So kind of my thoughts. I saw some of the video again. Not totally reassuring. It wasn't as big a group as it looked like, but again, it's supposed to come in bigger tomorrow. We'll see. It'd be nice to get 10 million people there. I really think people need to look at their local area. Who is your sheriff? Who are your commissioners? And if you're a big city person, I think you really, as far as trying to advance liberty or anything, it's not gonna happen. I think that causes loss in most big cities. So you got to really go to your state government, and nothing good is going to come out of D.C. Ever again. I don't think. I think we are a fight for liberty at the local level. Preserve what you can, and coalesce with those neighbors and states that will go along with it in the future, and reorganize republics, because we are no longer a constitutional republic. We lost that ability a long time ago with the loss of state representation at the federal level, and the democratization has been a disaster. And that's the big cause of our current problem, is the democratization and the loss of the republic. So that's my thoughts on that, people. Hopefully Operation American Spring goes off peacefully. There may be some good we can take from it, learn some things, but unless 30 million people show up there and really put some focus out, who knows? But I mean, who knows? It's like Bundy Ranch. It was really questionable how it was all going to go down. I was really unsure. And I don't think this is going to be any different, because it is an uncertain scenario. How many people are going to show up in their mentality and their attitude? But we've got to put the ball in the court of the tyrannical feds as much as we can, and make them pony up, because we've got to ultimately push back against that. Since our states and sheriffs won't apparently do it, like at Bundy Ranch, the power has to go to the people. All right, live free.